After stalking him, after gatecrashing his friend's wedding, and then after faking a pregnancy, Meghan finally somehow convinced Harry to marry her. Members of Harry's family tried to warn him. His brother William told him he was taking things way too quickly with Meghan and he needed to slow down. Prince Philip also warned Harry, telling him that you step out with actresses, but you sure don't marry them. But no, Harry knew better. He just had to marry this Z-list, twice-divorced American actress, and look at where he is now. Even though Meghan claimed that she was going to hit the ground running in that engagement interview when it came to her royal duties, quickly she figured out royal work wasn't really for her. She wasn't a big fan of the whole work part. And that's mostly why in January of 2020, she and Harry announced they were going to be stepping back from their positions as working royals. They were going to make it big in Hollywood. They were going to finally escape the prison of royal life and finally make something of themselves. They were going to be 100% independent. They didn't need the support of the palace anymore. Oh, except of course for that full year that King Charles still paid all their bills. Oh, and maybe a little help with the down payment for that McMansion they bought in Montecito, California. And then after the money finally dried up, after the Bank of Daddy finally said no, then they had the audacity to whine to Oprah that, oh, my father cut me off financially. Since then, things for Harry have certainly gone from bad to worse. With everything he and Meghan put out, it seems like the rift between Harry and his family grows even wider. And now, a childhood friend of the late Queen's is speaking out about the whole Harry situation. And what she has to say isn't very flattering. The Daily Express has published an article. Queen Elizabeth's childhood friend, Lady Glenconner, hits out at Meghan Markle, saying the Duchess thought royal life would be like being a film star. Well, that's exactly what she thought. Except actually, what Meghan thought was worse. She thought it was going to be exactly like what she saw in the Disney movies. That woman is so delusional, she can't even tell the difference between fantasy and reality. Lady Glenconner not only was good friends with the late Queen and her sister Princess Margaret since they were children, she was also, as the Daily Mail reports, one of the 6 maids of honor at the late monarch's 1953 coronation, and she was lady-in-waiting to the monarch's sister Princess Margaret. So when it comes to the royals, when it comes to the traditions and the protocol, she certainly knows her stuff. Lady Glenconner has said that Meghan thought she would be, quote, riding around in a golden coach after she married Harry, and she simply did not understand what duties were expected of her. I agree that Meghan thought she was going to be riding around in a golden coach, but I don't necessarily agree that Meghan didn't know what duties were expected of her. I think Meghan absolutely knew. It was explained to her time and time again. If she didn't know, it was only because she wasn't listening. But then again, not listening was a big problem for Meghan when she was a working royal. They tried to help her. The late Queen had her personal aides try to advise Meghan, but Meghan wouldn't listen to the advice. I mean, everybody tried to help her. So for her to turn around now and claim that she was just lost, she didn't know what she was doing, it is disingenuous to say the least. Lady Glenconner spoke on the Rosebud with Giles Brandreth, and she said, I think the thing about Meghan was she had no idea what was expected of her really. I think she just thought it was sort of like being another actress, you know, riding around in a golden coach and everything like that. And actually, being a member of the royal family, a lot of it is extremely boring. Now, she also said that members of the royal family are expected to meet thousands of people. Well, of course. And that's something Meghan had a very big problem with. Meghan believes herself to be so far above everyone. I mean, even the rest of the royal family, she thought she should be the one in charge. She was going to single-handedly bring the monarchy into the modern era. Well, come on, with lofty ambitions like that, she was bound to fall flat on her face, and that's exactly what we saw. Meghan didn't understand what was expected of her. No, she didn't care. Lady Glenconner makes a good point, though, that being a member of the royal family can be very boring at times, and see, that was something Meghan could not accept. She was used to a fast-paced lifestyle. She was used to all the glitz and the glamour, and that's what she thought being a royal was all about. That's why she wanted to marry Harry in the first place. So that's exactly why when she saw that real work was expected of her, she started complaining. She started saying stuff on royal tours like, I can't believe I'm not being paid for this. And that's also why she was keeping the freebies. Just being of service to others was not a benefit according to Meghan. There had to be something in it for her. Lady Glenconner also notes that members of the royal family are always expected to say something interesting and nice to each person. Well, Meghan couldn't do that. I mean, come on. Meghan believes she should only be surrounded by the most elite people on the planet. She shouldn't have to talk to the unwashed masses. Meghan is also not a very good actress because whenever she has to interact with the public, you can see the disgust all over her face. I mean, even with small children, I've seen it. Meghan thinks her little act is convincing, but it's incredibly phony. Lady Glenconner is also not the only one who feels bad for Harry for marrying that snake Meghan Markle. Lady Glenconner shared a story from the King's recent coronation. Apparently, she sat beside the American politician John Kerry, and she asked him, "What do you think in America about Harry and Meghan?" And according to Lady Glenconner, John Kerry's response was, he said, "We all feel very, very sorry for Harry. I think I can just leave it at that." I mean, John Kerry has no relationship with Meghan or Harry. John Kerry is just an observer like the rest of us. John Kerry also, I think, has a pretty good head on his shoulders. He's seen a lot. He's met a lot of people. I really hope that Harry has read this bit of news. Maybe it's going to be the wake-up call that he needs. Harry, if American politicians who don't really even know you personally are saying they feel sorry for you because you're married to Meghan Markle, maybe you need to make a change. I actually think John Kerry was being very kind to say that he feels sorry for Harry. And that is something I go back and forth on. Do I feel sorry for Harry, or do I hold him accountable for all of his horrible behavior? I think we can have it both ways, to be honest with you. On the one hand, I do feel sorry for Harry because I think in some ways he is trapped in this relationship with a narcissist. I don't think Harry has the mental fortitude to be able to really fight back. On the other hand, he went along with all Meghan's grifting and scheming and lying ways, so he does need to be held responsible for his part in all this mess. And in some ways, I'm not sure I even agree with Lady Glenconner on Meghan. I'm not sure that I'm convinced Meghan really thought that royal life was going to be so amazing and then she was disappointed. Sometimes I believe Meghan Markle orchestrated all this from the very beginning. She never intended to stay on as a working royal. I believe that may have been a ruse from the very start. I know she's delusional, so it is possible that she had this Disney fairy tale in her head and she thought that's what it was going to be like. But then again, there are some signs that this was Meghan's plan all along. Think about the fact that she got involved with Netflix before she and Harry even got married, or I don't remember, it was definitely before they left the UK though. Now, if her plan was just to be a working royal, why would she have needed to make contact with Netflix? And look, not to sound like a tinfoil hat crazy here, but there are also some signs suggesting that Meghan is being supported by somebody behind the scenes, somebody with very deep pockets who hates the monarchy. Anyway, there are some interesting possibilities to consider here. And you, why do you think Meghan was such a failure as a working royal? Please let me know your opinions below in the comments section. Don't forget to like and share this video with anybody else who would enjoy it, and if you haven't had a chance to yet, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing from Kate Middleton and the Queen team. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.